You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest.
Everyone, welcome from your Intuition Queen to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast. Continuing the series about colors, today we talk about the color green, and you can see that from the way I am dressed today. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're liking this color series. So let's go with green. When I work with people, or when I talk to people and I ask them to tell me what they relate green to, a lot of them talk about calmness, nature, feeling good, feeling peace. And this is actually a color that gives you all of that feelings. Nature, it's associated with the calm within, and this color does really help you to calm down if you are in a frenzy state, if something is overwhelming you, if you're anxious or things like that, because it's a very, very harmonious color. But what does that mean in color therapy? So green is the color of love, self-love mainly, unconditional love. It's related to forgiveness, to harmony, humility, generosity, compassion, kindness, all of those emotions that are related to our heart. Mother Nature is the heart of everything. The heart chakra is also green, and this color is related to all the matters of our heart, and therefore it's related to all of those emotions related to a pure heart, to someone that really loves. And when you really love someone or love yourself, all of those emotions like kindness, like it's going to be easy for you to have compassion and have kindness and want to have harmony around you. Now, what I have realized in working with people, and what happens when you have this color in your chart, is that people with this color in their color chart, they have a tendency to be a people pleaser, or they have a tendency to do so much for so many people and put their needs on the side. It's something that I realize happens to a lot of people that have green in their chart, and it's something that it's very persistent for them, something that they struggle not to do, because doing things for others makes them feel good. But what does that do to you if this is one of the energies that you have in your color chart? Is that not always people give back give back to you what you give to them, and you can end up feeling too tired and not filling your cup. So this is a topic that I talk about with so many people, and I always talk about giving to yourself first, making sure that you are okay, making sure that you have everything that you need, making sure that you have enough, thinking about yourself first before you can actually think about other people. And of course, if you have kids, your kids come first, but always remember that you need to feel good, you need to have your cup filled in order for you to be able to help other people. And so one of the things that I've started talking about lately is understanding how much you want to invest in someone. And we are used to think that because we have friends, we've been friends with people for a long time, because it's family, we should just be giving, and it doesn't matter if we're able to receive. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you should invest as much as people invest in you. Yes, sometimes it's okay to invest more time, more energy, more whatever else. But you really need to learn to make sure that you have an exchange of energy that is the same of the one that you give out, because otherwise you're always going to be tired, you're always going to run out of energy. And it's not necessarily true that when you give to so many, all those people will give back to you when you need. And I'm sure you relate to what I'm saying. I know that when I say this to my clients, they all go like, yeah, you're right. I need to make a list of all the people that actually are true to me and really love me, and the ones that I keep giving and never getting. So pay attention if this is a color that you have in your color chart. just pay attention, because this could be something, the negative side of the energy. And it doesn't matter in which part of your chart this falls onto, it's a tendency that you might have. And so creating boundaries and making sure that you're okay first and thinking about yourself, it's extremely important. um, I had a workshop about love a couple of weeks ago, and one of the girls that was there was talking about how after she broke up with her boyfriend after a long time, she had to move away from where she was living, because she didn't want to have family and people around her to talk about why that happened, why she came to that decision. She just wanted to start fresh and not be asked questions. Although she started to say that after a year of breaking up with her ex-boyfriend, her family was starting to be like, so when are you gonna meet someone new? When are you gonna find a new boyfriend? And she said something. She said, no, now I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to be thinking about me. And I corrected her there, because I was like, it's not selfish. You're taking care of yourself. You are respecting yourself. You are loving yourself right now. So reframe and reuse a different word, and use a different word, because selfish has a negative connotation. And if you say to people, I am being selfish, you're giving them something to attach on to attack you. But if you're saying, right now, I am taking care of myself, I am respecting myself, and I'm loving myself because I need this, it's, you see, you can already feel it's a more loving and positive energy. And people won't have anything to say about it, especially if you're being pressured by other people. We know we all are at many times during the courses of our life, especially from family in those circumstances. And I'm now back in Italy, so the family pressure on how you should be living your life, it's pretty crazy down here. But I know this is not the only country where family kind of wants to decide for you, wants you to do certain things. But whatever the situation is, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. Sometimes you just really need to take care of yourself. And that means maybe, take some time off, go away for a little bit, just stay by yourself, whatever that works for you. But when you're talking to people, they might take it differently. If you say, I need to take care of myself, I need to give a little bit of love to me, and give some respect to myself, and therefore I'm going to do this, rather than I'm going to be selfish for a couple of weeks, because then people just go into, oh my god, right? Okay, so another energy that I want to talk about today, it's the energy of forgiveness. Green is a color that calls in for forgiveness, and I know that forgiveness, it's not necessarily easy. It's not necessarily an easy topic. When someone hurts us, before we can actually forgive them, if we get to that point, we need to process what's happened. We need to understand how we feel in that way, and so many other things. So you might not really get to a point where you will forgive someone else. If you manage, that's great, because you're going to release so much. But this is, for me, the most important thing to do. It's forgiving yourself. Because whatever situations we get caught up in, we always have a tendency to blame ourselves for something. Either we blame ourselves, or we criticize ourselves for not having done something, or having it done in a certain way, for not having said something. Maybe you didn't stand up for something when you were having an argument with a person. You didn't leave the relationship before it was too heavy, or you allowed someone to do something to you. It doesn't matter. I believe that because we are energy, and the energy that is within us is projected outside, and therefore we attract what we have within. And sometimes we need to learn from situations where we also need to get hurt, because in that we kind of wake up and realize, oh my God, I've been doing this for a long time. Now I understand why this has happened to me. But the energy of forgiveness, or actually the energy of self-critic and judgment, stays within us for a very long time, and we start to criticize and judge ourselves from a very, very young age. And if we don't release that through forgiving ourselves, this energy might get stuck within us. A couple of weeks ago, I finished working with one of my clients that worked with me for 4 months, doing card reading. And we started in November, and she went through an amazing transformation from not knowing who she was anymore. She had to take care of her mother for 2 years because her mother was sick. She was doing pretty much everything, and she had to move state. And when you're looking after someone, you kind of have to be all in, even if you have a job and something else. But that situation is going to suck out any kind of energy and willingness to think about your future for a while. Also, because if you don't know how long that's going to take, you're just in for the ride, and you'll deal with whatever happens afterwards. So we started working that she wanted to take back her power, basically. And it was so beautiful to see her transformation through the months, her realizations. And it wasn't the last card reading that we did, it was the one before the last, where we're kind of I was asking questions about the future, the transformation, the good energies. And it was a beautiful reading, was coming through as a very beautiful positive reading, really motivating one. But then I asked if there was something that could block her in course, and the energy of judgment came through, and we started talking about it. And we figured out that she was still holding on to a decision she had done when she was 19. And bear in mind that this woman was almost 60, and she was still holding on to that. She was still holding on to this belief that because she, as a woman, she should have done something different. Although the decision that she took was extremely empowering for her, because it helped her not to actually get down to a really negative spiral. But that meant she had to leave behind a couple of family members. And it was a really critical situation, and also a critical age. And she was still talking about it. She was like, oh my God, I just realized I'm still judging myself for that. And so we talked about how to release that energy, and I suggested her to send a letter to her 19-year-old self in order to release that and to forgive herself, but also thank her for allowing her to actually make a better life choice, even though that was painful. And I talked about self-forgiveness with a lot of people, a lot of my clients, and I sometimes do that for myself, because I know I have high standards for myself, probably more than I have for other people. And sometimes I just need to be more kinder with myself, and I just have to be more compassionate with me and be like, okay, maybe yes, this was not the very best thing you could have possibly done at that moment, but that's what you got, that's what you thought about, that's how you felt in that moment. And I do believe, I'm a stronger believer there, everything happens for a reason, and you are put in certain situations and you meet certain people to get clearer and clearer on what you want and what you don't want. And sometimes you have to act in ways that you wish you didn't, or maybe you wish that the situation went differently. But it's not for you to blame yourself. It went the way it went. The only thing you can do is just really see maybe what you can adjust, if there is anything, and then let go and forgive yourself and forgive someone else if someone else is involved. Because this is how it is. Life, we keep on getting sent people that we need to meet, because every person that we meet is reflecting back on us. Something that we either need to learn, we need to change, we need to stand our ground to. Um, Since I moved back to Italy, I've done a lot of growth in this kind of sense. I keep meeting people that are showing me things that either I don't want or are helping me to move forward. And I'm really grateful. And they're not necessarily people that um, are all loving. Sometimes it happens that I'm meeting people that I'm like, really? Come on, universe. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, now I get it. I get why you sent me that person. I needed to understand this about myself. So be mindful with yourself. And when something happens, tune into the energy of green. You can wear it, you can surround yourself with green, you can go out in nature, maybe just lay down on the grass if it's possible for you at that time, and really ask yourself how you can forgive yourself more, love yourself more, and use this energy with the right people. I always ask the universe to send me the people that are aligned to my energy and that are good for me, especially when I'm going out and I'm meeting people that I don't know. I'm like, don't send me people that are not good for me. Send me only people that are good for me. And I tune into this energy of green and white and pink normally, because that's the energy of protection. And I go to places where maybe I'm about to meet someone new, or I'm like, okay, if the person is aligned, let it come to me. If it's not, then let it go away, or send me messages about this person. And you can do that too, but I just want you to understand how powerful are the energies of green, and those are the energies of our heart, and those are the energies we all want to have around. We all want love and harmony, and we all want to be with the people that make us feel good. We don't want to have to deal with people that make us feel bad or that trigger us. We just want to have a happy life, right? But to have what I call a happy life, you have to learn to understand yourself on a deeper level. You have to learn to understand who you are, what are your triggers, what is good for you, what it's not. And the only way to do that is, first of all, to ask yourself, but then it's to do some inner work. So if you feel like doing a color therapy session, this can actually help you to understand your energies on a deeper level. And I've explained in the previous episodes, but the way it works is that you could potentially have 4 different colors that talk about 4 parts of your, I call it like, for me, it's like a pretty much almost like a map of your energy from when you're born to your life mission. And the colors that pop up in your chart will tell you, will guide you, will give you some guidance on how to move forward in your life, and what kind of energies are better for you, what kind of tendencies you might have that you need to pay attention to in order to not get off track, so that you can stay in alignment. Um, and this can help you to understand more about you, and use those energies to improve your life, or to release some blockages, to feel better if there are some things in your life that are not really going as you wanted. uh, Having a color therapy session is also great if you want to understand why you're not manifesting things, and you might have some stuck energy there. Like I talked to you about the energy of judgment. If we keep judging ourselves, that's energy stuck in our body. So if love doesn't come to you in the forms that you want, that could be a romantic love, or could be friendships that are aligned to you, or whatever else, it's because that energy is not there, because you're blocking the flow with the criticism and the judgment that you gave to yourself and also to others. But mainly, everything always starts from us. So I always say to everyone, start from you, and then we expand on the outside and see, okay, let's see what are the people that are giving you this and that. What are the people are making you feel good, or what are the people are not making you feel good? Okay, let's stay more with the ones that are making you feel good, and let's stay less with those. What are the things that you're doing that are not necessarily the things that you want to do. This energy, the energy of green, asks us to use boundaries, to set up boundaries. I know for me here in Italy, it's something that I've never done, but because it's family, you have to go to all kind of Sunday lunches, and it's the this and that, and you're kind of supposed to go and just do family stuff. And for me, it's always been like, yeah, I just don't want to. I don't necessarily want to be surrounded by people that don't make me feel good. I mean, my family is fine, but when there are situations where someone is going to argue at some point and it feels like a drag. That could be also with friends. When you're going through a transformational moment, when you're going through a big change in your life, either that you have chosen to make that change or that change happened to you, your life is going to change all around you as well, even if you haven't thought about it, if you haven't planned about it, if you didn't realize. It's just because energetically you are changing inside of you, and what was important for you before, what mattered for you before, starts to change. And therefore also the people around you starts to change, because you're going to see people behaving differently, because you're going to feel differently. And so when that happens, you're in this transitional and transformational period of your life. You have to learn to set up boundaries and understand who is allowed in because that person makes you feel good and who isn't. You have to set up boundaries with yourself. You have to set up boundaries maybe with your work. As an entrepreneur, we tend to always work, especially being in the creative field. Whenever an idea pops up, even if I said I was not going to work, then I just start writing, or I maybe start thinking about this, and then I start chatting with that person. And that's okay. But sometimes you have to learn to say no to certain things, especially when it's about, oh, let me write just the last email, let me do this, or let me do that. So for me, it's Saturday and Sundays I tend not to work. Or if I do, I just take a day off during the week. Normally I take a day off during the week just because there are less people around. I can go into shops and there are crowds and stuff like that, and I just feel like it's more chilled and I can actually relax better. But see how that works for you. Boundaries is very important if you have energy in your this green energy in your chart, because you have the tendency to kind of give away too much of you to too many people, and that can cause you to be too tired and never get back the same kind of energy. So there is an imbalance there. Now, one thing that I want to add here is that every time I say you need to learn to give love to yourself, I talk about love, and it's a general. It can be compassion, it can be kind, it can be love is such a big topic. But it's something that a lot of people tell me, yeah, but how do I do that? It feels like we're not able to give love to ourselves. And since I came back to Italy, started to do workshops with in-person people. And I've been doing workshops on love and self-esteem. And this topic comes up all the times, especially because we all have an unhealed trauma coming from the way we grew up and from the relationship with our parents. Then we want to accept that or not. This is what it is and how it is. And so when I talk about this, I see a lot of people that keep going by not really dealing with whatever is going on with them, and not really dealing with that trauma, not really dealing with the wounds that they're bringing forward from when they were children. And so a lot of people don't feel safe within themselves, don't feel loved, don't feel accepted. They don't even know what it means to have unconditional love. And they go out and about projecting their fears onto the people that they meet. And if we're talking about our romantic relationships, they will do that to their partners or friends, whoever is is around them. And this causes more pain and more pain all around. And oftentimes I get to talk to people that want to kind of give a lesson to their parents. They want to teach them, especially new generations. And I work a lot with people from 30, 40 years old, where they're like, oh, I learned this. I'm very pleased to hear that some people here in Italy go to a therapist because it's always been something that people will not consider something you should be doing, because, you know, all generations didn't have that. And when they get to a point where they realize that what some of the blockages that they have, some of the traumas that they have come from how they were raised up from their parents, they want to explain that to them. They want to let them know. They want to show them that now they know, and so they should be changing. And I know what that means because I went through that phase too with my mom, where I was like, you did this and this has happened, you never did that. And she was like, what are you talking about? Like, you crazy. And I learned to understand that my generation is not like my parents' generation. They didn't have the tools, the understanding, and the capability to do introspection. They also grew up with wounds from our grandparents and so on. So if we take all this energy coming from our ancestor line, and we can understand that our parents or the people that we grew up with did their best in the way they could, because this is what they knew, this is what they had been taught. And yes, we are lucky because we are in a space and time where we can easily talk about healing, emotional healing, energy healing, going to a psychologist without being called crazy. I mean, some people still do, but you know, there is such a more opening and understanding on mental health and what it means to work on yourself. It's taught by all the big achievers, all the top coaches, all the big entrepreneurs. They all talk about the importance of this. So there is more understanding. You can buy books, you can go online, you can find people everywhere that can help you with this process. And but this doesn't mean that because you know this, then you can actually go to your parents or your lover or someone else, your friends, and be like, okay, this is what you need to do. People need to want to heal and learn more about that. And so I talk a lot about this with my clients. And the best thing that you can do is to work on yourself and heal yourself. I was told this in 2016 when I went to do an aura reading. That was the year after my dad passed away. And I was feeling guilty because I was in London, my mom was here. I never really had a great relationship with my brother. I was like, my dad was kind of the glue for everything. And I feel like I'm the one that understands this better. And I feel a little bit responsible. And the lady was like, it's not your responsibility to take care of your mother, your brother, because they're not people that wants to actually go down this road. You do yourself and work to heal yourself, work to understand more about you. And the more you do this is going to be reflected on the people around you. There is nothing you can do for people that don't want to have that kind of help. And it's true. And it's absolutely true. I learned that. And this is what I've been doing for so many years, working constantly on myself in order for me to better my relationships, if that's even possible, because sometimes, you know, it's just not possible. I talk a lot with a lot of people that don't talk to their parents anymore. And I completely stand by them, because sometimes it's just not possible. But sometimes it is. And instead of going to the other person and be like, I know what you did to me, this is the reason why I've been feeling like this is no, just give what you think that person should have been given to you. And if that's love, give yourself more love. Do things that make you feel you're loved. If you don't feel safe, figure out what exactly doesn't make you feel safe, and go give that to yourself. I know it's difficult because I went through this exact process, and until I realized I could give those things to myself, things weren't moving for me, or were moving and then falling apart. And I was like, how is it that I'm always in this situation and it doesn't matter what I do? And it doesn't matter how much I work on myself. But then I got it. I'm like, okay. It's a process. You have to go through a lot of fears, but you can get there. And once you're able to give that kind of love, whatever love means for you, and in whichever form that it applies to you, could be safety, security, actual love, anything else. Well, once you are able to give that to yourself, then you're also able to attract people that are aligned, that are not are not wounded, and don't necessarily need to project their shit on you, but you can match those people at the same pace and in the same place, right? And this is something that you resonate with and you don't know how to do and you want help, please do get in touch, because I do this with a lot of my clients. But the only reason why I keep pushing about it is because I went through it myself. And yes, I've learned so much, and I'm always learning new techniques, and I always want to improve the business side of things, the personal side of things. But the true reason is that everything I talk about is something that I went through myself, and I think that's the best way to help other people. So whatever I've been saying so far, if something resonated with you and you feel you need help in moving forward, please do get in touch. We can have a free consultation and we can understand better what's the best way to work together, because there are a lot of things that we can do together, and we can work on a program. I always suggest a program because if there is a lot to work on, a session won't do much. Will help you understand something about you, but if you need healing, you need to get into a program. And I have a program that is called Discover Your True Colors. It's 8 or 12 weeks, but we can adjust it to the weeks that you need to the time period that you actually need to. And that is an amazing container, because we can do so much in there. We can do healing, we can do energy healing, emotional healing, we can do fun stuff. I promise you it's fun to work with me, because the way I structure the inner work, it's in order for you to learn and understand, but also not to get so heavy on working, because I know that can make you stop from wanting to go ahead. And I'm that kind of person that feels that once you do something really deep, then you also need to do something really fun. And so we will be doing a lot of those things, and I can do distant Reiki for you. So there is a lot of healing with colors and healing energies, but also a lot of just moving forward, because I'm all about let's move forward. So we will work on what keeps you stuck there, and I will be there with you and releasing whatever trauma you have gone through, or whatever energy is still blocking you that you might not know about. It might still be subconscious, but it's going to be with the perspective of making you move forward and allowing you to achieve your goals. There is one thing that I want to add on color therapy, and then I will talk about the chakra. But when this energy is not in your chart, but it's popping up in your energy field, this could be for the reason that I told you earlier, that you need to give love to yourself, or you need to give something to yourself, or because maybe you are in that transitional period that I mentioned earlier, where you are detaching yourself from something that you used to know and believe, and now you no longer feel that way, and you're moving towards a different direction. I mentioned this a little bit in the previous episode about yellow, and I was talking about when you kind of release yourself from the group and you start to make your own life. In this case, is more related to dogma and religion. So let's say that you were born Catholic and they told you that you are a sinner and you're gonna go to hell if you do this and that. And then you decide to maybe either stop believing in any kind of religion, but you start to believing in a higher power. You can call it the way you want to, or you move away from that, you start to believing in another religion. I don't know, maybe you become Buddhist or something else. And as you move away from that, because you start to maybe not recognize as true some of the things that up until now were told to you, they were the absolute truth, and you maybe were living by those rules. But as you start to move towards something new and something completely different, that kind of disproves a little or a lot some of the things that you knew then. Green is the color that might be popping up for you, and the reason is because you need to trust yourself that the decision that you're making and the movement that you're making towards this new way of thinking and living is right. And so here there is healing and love that is kind of going through your life, and that's when you need to believe in yourself and you need to give love to yourself and you need to be compassionate, because it's not that what you did was wrong. Maybe you were born, you know, in a Catholic country, like let's say me, for example. I was born in a Catholic country, in a Catholic family. All of my grandparents were kind of always going to church and preaching and stuff, and also my mom. And so I grew up with all the sacraments and stuff, and I was never really into those. I always felt restricted. I always felt that what they were talking about was not pro freedom. And as soon as I stopped to do the things that I was obliged to do, and I got all the sacraments and stuff, I stopped going to church, because to me that was such a waste of time, and I didn't like what they were saying. I never did. I felt they were very judgy and very restrictive, and I moved away from that. And I had a moment where I would just say that I didn't believe in anything. And then I read Alchemist from Coelho. One of my colleagues gave it to me one day, and I'm like, okay, the universe sounds much better. And that's what the first step for me to go into spirituality and I found that to be more aligned to me. And in that moment, you know, I had all of those situations where, oh, what do you mean you're not going to church? What do you mean? Why you're not I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So sorry. You have to be really strong in yourself, and find ways to avoid certain situations, certain questions, or certain conversations, because they're very triggering. And so you need love in that kind of case. You need to give yourself as much love and compassion as you can, because what you were thinking before, what you were believing before was not wrong. But as you move more into knowing and understanding yourself, then you will make choices that are more aligned to what you actually believe and what your soul wants to. And, you know, give yourself as much love as you can, because you're on the right path. And maybe you're going to change again, but it doesn't matter. As long as you feel that's the right decision, it is. So trust yourself, trust your heart, trust your intuition, and give yourself love. Okay, let's move on to the chakra. As so many might know, this is related to the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the fourth chakra. It's green, obviously, and it's the point where we have all our emotional power, and where all of our emotions are stored. And the teaching of this chakra is to learn to love and let go of emotions that do not serve us, which is a beautiful thing, but it's a very complicated thing, because we tend to just run our lives based on how we feel. And instead, when we are aligned and we have done all the work that is necessary, either working on each chakra to release what's blocking us, or in other ways, when we get to a point where we're able to manage our emotions and get to a point where we're not run by them, but we do understand why they're popping up and we are able to release what doesn't serve us, you're in alignment. So this is where we really should want to get to, where we can feel everything, where we don't need to hide what we feel, but we're also able to manage that emotion in a way that doesn't make us feel worse and doesn't create problems around us. When I say that, I don't mean dim your light, or hide yourself to avoid problems. I mean, oftentimes our emotions are so explosive that if we act in the emotional state, we might do or say things that are not necessarily true and that can hurt other people. So in that sense, I mean, like, when you learn to understand yourself and how you function on an emotional and energetic level, then you're also able to manage your emotion. And once you have processed them, you're able to then talk to a person if that's something that you need to do in a different way, in a way that will work well for you and also work well for the other person, or in most cases, but in a way that it's not so heavy on emotion. You're kind of sober, and you can actually have a conversation because you've learned what that emotion was trying to tell you. So the heart chakra, the energy of the heart chakra is about how we feel and how we respond to our feelings. And so when this chakra is balanced, we're able to feel the emotions, and we're able to feel our emotions. We're able to feel what's going on around us. We're able to feel love. We're able to feel compassion. We are in a state of hope. We're in a state of trust. We are inspired. We're able to understand when we need to protect ourselves. When I talked earlier about boundaries, when you are in alignment with this chakra, you know yourself to a point where you know how to manage yourself in all kind of situations. If you are, say, around a lot of people, or something's going on, someone said something, you know how to manage that, even if maybe you're feeling a certain way. Say you're being ignored by someone that you wanted not to ignore you, you're able to stand there and still continue the night, and then process that feeling when you go home, and avoid to create maybe a scene or something like that. So because you're able to understand yourself, then you're also able to give and feel love, compassion, and all of those nice feelings that we all want to have. When we have this chakra that is not balanced and is closed, maybe we tend to stay in fear, and we have difficulty in following our heart. When we're balanced, we know what we want, we go for it. We feel the feeling, we follow the feeling, we follow the good feeling. When this is not balanced, we feel lonely. We might feel like nobody wants us. We might feel afraid to be vulnerable with other people because we might be afraid to be judged, or we might feel like we can forgive people, we can forgive ourselves. We're in that kind of state where nothing is really working around us, and there's always this feeling of maybe anger or resentment around us. So look around yourself, try to figure out if you're resentful of someone or yourself or something, if you're angry, if you have a tendency to be more in those feelings, your heart chakra might be blocked. And it's necessary to understand what's going on there. Here, it's in this chakra, if it's not balanced, you might not be able to forgive others. And sometimes I talk to people like, oh yeah, we had an argument 20 years ago and I haven't forgiven her or hit him. And I'm like, do you actually know what's the argument about? Oh no, we were so young. I'm like, well then you know, what's the point? It happens to everyone. Like when you're in your teens or 20s, you do things and then who remembers? But you know, it's about learning to understand why those emotions are there. I always say that emotions are the most amazing information we can possibly have, because they are there to tell us, please release us, or please look into us. There is something else you need to learn. And so if you're feeling angry, resentful, or you just cannot be vulnerable with people, you're emotionally closed off and you don't feel safe with anybody, it's important for you to dig deeper. And if you want, we can have a quick chat together, and I can see if, and we can see if maybe I can help you with that. When this happens, when this chakra is not balanced, because maybe you don't feel safe, you feel judged all the time, you don't feel you can open up, you will sabotage yourself, because when you get to a point where those emotions get triggered, you will act in a way that will kind of protect you. Like it feels like you're being protected, but what you're really doing is like you're just avoiding something to happen that will actually be important for your growth, and you're closing yourself up from that. And so the more you close yourself up from that and you avoid to grow, you avoid to experience certain situations, the more you will sabotage yourself, and that's when things start to not go as they should. As I said earlier, here it's all about learning to understand more about ourselves. Our emotions tell us so much. Our energy tells us so much. And so you can learn what is blocking you and you can do things to help yourself. It's a process, it's not something you can do with a session, but once you get to the other side, you will see such a different person. You will feel so much lighter and you will probably think, why did I not do this earlier? So get in touch, send me a message, book a free consultation if you feel like, and we can chat about it. All right. I think we're getting towards the end. And as usual, I have a couple of questions that I want you to journal about that can help you to understand where you're at in terms of this energy. And you're more than welcome to let me know if anything has popped up, if this episode has resonated with you. If you have questions, I'm always here for you. You can message me in either via email, hello@theintuitionqueen.com. You can message me through Instagram, The Intuition Queen. All the notes and all the links are in the show notes, so you can just go wherever you feel like and message me from there. I hope this episode has been helpful. All right, so let's get down to the 3 questions. You can journal about it, and this should help you to let things come to the surface and get you to understand and know a little bit more about yourself. All right, so the first question is, what emotional memories do you still need to heal? Now, you might be thinking, how do I know? But I want you to write this question and let your intuition guide you and write whatever comes through. I'm pretty sure something is popping up. Maybe you have an image. Maybe it's a sentence. Maybe it is something. So don't think too much about it. Just feel into this question. It's not really about thinking, but maybe you already know. And if you do, just write that down. The second question is, what scares you about loving yourself and becoming emotionally healthy? I think this is a beautiful question because loving ourselves is scary. Because first of all, a lot of people don't know how to do that, and I didn't know I could actually do that too either. But when you become emotionally healthy, everything around you changes, and change is always something that scares people. So think about this, because I think this is a beautiful, beautiful question that can actually open you up to understand a little bit more about yourself. And I would be so curious to hear what comes through for you. If you feel like Send it over. I'd love to hear from you. And the third question is, what do you need to forgive to yourself? And I put that there because I think that forgiveness is such an important things that we should be doing to ourselves first, always. Forgive yourself for the things you've done yesterday, for something you haven't done a few years ago, for doing, not doing, feeling, not feeling, behaving, not behaving. And it's okay. You are where you are at right now. And give that to yourself. Give that forgiveness to yourself. You deserve it. Yeah, let me know how this plays out. And I hope this has resonated with you. Let me know. And as usual, I am going to pull a card for the collective. And this time I'm using, because I think it's appropriate, the chakra love. Since we're talking about love and the color of love, and we're talking about the chakras, let's see, what's a card that my audience needs to... Well, I feel this is appropriate. So we have fearlessness. Turn your worries into a warrior. This is actually yellow, the solar plexus chakra. But I feel that with the conversation that I was having with you about giving love to yourself, when you do give love to yourself, you feel so much powerful. You feel like it doesn't matter what people do to you. It doesn't matter what happens around you, because you got yourself. It's that understanding that you got yourself. So you're no longer waiting for your mom to approve of you. I had a conversation some time ago, and I was talking to this woman about her romantic situation and how difficult it was for her to end this relationship, because this relationship was not going to go anywhere. And we started talking and talking and talking. And then she said to me, I felt like, oh yeah, I told her to write a letter to this person, and to write everything that she was feeling about him, and to burn it. And she said to me that writing the letter was really painful. It brought up a lot of stuff. But at the same time, when she finished it, she felt relief, and like on a physical level, not just emotional. And then she said to me, I felt like I was a child and I was still holding on to the legs of a man. Like I didn't want this man to go. And I said to her, yeah, that was your father. And she was like, oh my God, yes, it was, because my father was always away. And so there is always a correlation, especially in our relationships. It's important for us to learn to give ourselves. And we were talking about it. She was like, yeah, I think I still want them to approve of me. And wanting to have our parents to approve of who we are and what we want and what we're doing, it's something that always comes up with a lot of people. I had to go through this myself too. And this is why you need to give that approval to yourself. You need to give that pat on the back to yourself. You need to feel proud of yourself. Forgive yourself, because once you're able to give all of that to yourself, you no longer need the approval of other people. You no longer need the love of other people. Yes, it's beautiful when you can get that. And it's amazing when you're surrounded by people that also give you that. But that's on top of you feeling enough. Feeling that you have everything that you need and everything that you want. And whoever and whatever comes into your life, either because you want that or because they just naturally come to you because you have come to this state where you feel whole, it's something more. It's something that adds on to the whole of you. So this is what being in this energy, the energy of green, means, and where we really need to inspire to get to. Because then if you're looking for love, you're not going to go there from a place of needing someone to make you feel in a certain way, safe, happy, loved. No, you're gonna want that person to be in your life, because it's going to be a great addition to your life to help you grow and grow in love and grow in personally and in materially, maybe, you know, but it's going to be for your growth and not because you feel there's something within you that is missing and that person can give it to you. That goes on the same for friends and for jobs and for physical things, for anything. All right. I hope this episode resonated with you. Do let me know. Send me comments either on the podcast platforms, on my social media. You can find me on theintuitionqueen.com. And you can go check all my offers. If you go on the tab Intuitive Sessions, you see everything. I do card readings. I can do just one card reading, either 30 minutes or 1 hour, or we can work together for a few months. I have color therapy sessions, healing sessions, and that healing sessions are just if there is some emotions and some energy that is stuck, we're going to be working to get to the core of that and release whatever it is that is making you feel stuck, blocked. And you can work with me on my program, Discover Your Three Colors. And that's a longer program where I can help you in so many different ways to release everything that doesn't serve you, to get to the new you. And so you can create the life that is sexy and fulfilled and happy, where you feel that way because that's inside of you. All right. You can book a free consultation, and you can do that through my website, or if you feel better, to send me an email, hello@theintuitionqueen.com. You can find me there. And if you want, I'd be so pleased for you to join my community on Facebook. My group, it's called Discover Your Three Colors, and I'm gonna help you to discover a little bit more of you and learn a bit more of you, and just have fun together. It's a beautiful community, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me a review, and share this episode with anybody that you might feel they need to hear about this. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you next week. Ciao.
Your future's at the door.